I like the saying that you had at the start, Paul, is you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, because I think it's really good for, clients if they're on the lookout for builders, homeowners, if they're looking out for builders to help them with the works. I think it's really good to look at, or maybe even ask the questions. What are you doing? Are you doing any coaching? Are you doing any, extra CPD skills? It's those things then that they can see with those builders. They do want to do better. You know what I mean? They want to either better themselves, better their team, better their client, client's journey. So I think it's a good thing to look out for if you're doing your analysis on your due diligence on your builder.
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Builders Beyond Borders. Today we've got me, Louise, Perway Construction Services, our lovely Paul from Independent Building Solutions, and Hugh from New Realm Homes. So today we're going to chat about why you should choose a builder who is still learning. So it's probably something that not many people would think to ask. Is your builder still learning? Because the truth is, like, the industry is still changing. There's always new methods, new products, new regulations, new communication systems. There's so much to it. So it's an interesting concept. Are you still learning, Paul? Are you still learning, Hugh?
Yeah, I think it's a constant learning, isn't it? Like, I mean, life's a constant learning, but I think if we're not, what do they say, green and growing, we're ripe and rotting, aren't we? So we've got to be always improving and always trying to keep up with things. And it is a challenge, especially with councils and regulations and changes that are coming and going all the time. Like I quite often say to architects and draftsmen I work with, I don't know how they keep up with it. And I think it's almost a full time process for them to keep up with all the changes to the regulations and the processes that we have to go through to keep on top of it all. But yeah, but there's new products coming out all the time. There's new materials coming out all the time. And even while we're just talking about some of the admin assistance and things that we can have these days with AI and stuff like we were just talking about before. There's all these things as well for the office side of thing and for the admin side and the red tape processing side of things. Is a lot of things are getting easier. A lot of things are becoming obsolete in a lot of areas too. So it's an ongoing process. I think learning life is one big learning curve. I think we keep learning till the day we drop, don't we? I guess. And I think if we're not, we're going to get behind the ball too, and not be able to keep up with what's happening in the industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just at a last week. I was at two builders courses. So in the West, we are very lucky to have anybody coming over here at all. So any coaching, any builders coaching, it's usually East Side or down Victoria area that you have a lot of the coaching programs that builders are part of. And so last week we had APB and also Live Life Build came, and it was a really interesting. I went to both of the seminars because it was just really interesting. Just you always pick up gold nuggets from that anyway, and I love learning whatever else you can, just to pick up on better processes, communicate with other builders and things like that. But there was so many builders in the room, and I think that it was really cool to see that all of those builders were there to learn, and it was to learn how to do their business better, how to communicate better with their clients, how to run their teams better, how to be a better person in themselves, or how to self-develop. And I think that it was great to see in the rooms so many builders that are there to learn. And it's those builders there that I think that if a homeowner was looking to build with someone, I would be looking in that room. I would be looking for those builders because they are there to help better their processes, how they can better the back end of their business, because it's not just how they can build and how they've come up as a trade and how they have built up in that and become a really great builder, but it's actually the back end and the business side of things and how they can improve that. Because if they've got more efficient, if they're learning about how to run their administration more efficiently, or how to run their team more efficiently, it's just like a full circle. It's a win-win for all situations. Like you've got your, your team, but then that it's going to do a better job, and then that's going to lead to a happier outcome for the client or better outcome for the client. So, yeah, it was really great to see.
Yeah, I think
Eh,
it rubs off on the team too, like you say, down the line, because if they see that you're making constant improvements, they'll sort of try and do the same thing, or they'll want to do the same thing because it's something that they'd be interested in to, keep them moving forward as well. It
Mm,
helps all the way down the line, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Hugh? What learnings have you been keeping up to date with?
Oh, well, I think that every single day there's always gonna be a lesson, and
Mm,
something to be learnt, in everything we do, whether it is the stuff that we talk about, within the business and, functionality stuff and making sure that we're compliant with whatever, changes there might have been to some regulation or some rule
mm,
or anything like that. But also, when it comes to, clients, because every client's different.
mm,
And every time we're actually having a conversation with a client who's got a different personality to the last person or the last person or the last person from there, we're learning something new, learning something either about ourselves and how we can actually have a conversation and also be able to sort of build rapport with
mm,
people. And these are really important qualities. And even to the extent of like, I don't know if this is something that's done throughout the rest of Australia, but in Victoria, I know that there's such things as continuing professional development, and
mm,
these are we've essentially got to get points. It's not necessarily enforced to be doing all this sort of thing, and we know that there are a lot of people that don't go and do some of this stuff, and aren't going and getting that professional development that might be needed or anything like that. And I guess that's where a lot of that coaching space sort of really comes from is that aspect of people need to run better businesses. They need to run, whether it's life coaching, and run their lives a little bit better. And we can learn from all the experiences that we have going on around us. And it's really going to come down to who's putting their best foot forward to actually be able to get some of those learnings and be improving on a daily
mm,
basis. It's definitely a challenge out there every day. We certainly learn from the challenges, and I know that within the space of, say, the last 10 years, the dramatic difference from doing that constant improvement and getting the lessons every single day, the builder that I was 10 years ago is not who's sitting here now.
mm. With that CPD points, Hugh, and the professional development aspect of things, we don't have to do that in Western Australia, and I think we should. I think we should have it because it keeps the builder up to date on what the new, construction codes are, the new ways of the building methodologies. Things get outdated. There's new methods. There's new materials to be used. And with the CPD the continuous professional development that you have to do in Victoria, do you have to do it in Canberra as well, Paul?
Yeah, yeah, they do have it here, but it's not really policed. I don't think they sort
Mm.
of check on it. I think they probably only look at it if something goes wrong or someone makes a complaint. But yeah, we do have it in place.
Does it cover just, like, construction methodologies, like the professional development and that, or is it everything? Is it, like, the back end running your builder's business as well?
Yeah, it is. It's
Okay.
the whole process right through. Yeah. So as long as you're working in some area on continuous improvement, like you say, that's all that matters. As long as you're doing something. So it is a constant learning process.
So, is there like a is there like a kind of list that you have to be, because you could continuously learn on your own self-development or, your own professional development or communication, but then you might skip then, continuous learning on waterproofing, for example. Is there a list that you have to do to complete, or like what does it
It's a
kind
point system. So there's so many. Well, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. There's so many points per month or whatever. I think it's monthly that you're supposed to qualify for. And then every time there's a course being run by the MBA, HIA, whatever the case may be, or whether it's business coaching or there's a list of all those things and how many points each one's worth.
Hmm.
So every time you do one, you get 2 points or 4 points, 6 points, whatever the case may be. If it's even just an industry lunch or something where there's going to be informational speakers, things like that in place. it's got to
Okay.
be worth 6 points or 8 points, 5 points or whatever. So you're just supposed to keep up to the limit of whatever it's 10, 12 points a month or something like that. But like I say,
Okay.
it's a bit hard to know exactly because they don't really police it. I think as long as they see that everyone's making an effort to continually improve, they sort of leave it
Yeah.
alone.
Is there supposed to be an average or a minimum amount of points that you're supposed to get a year? Like, is it 100 points a year or something that you're
I'm
supposed to
not
reach?
sure of yeah, I'm not sure of the numbers, Louise. I'd
Okay.
have to look that up because
Yeah.
it's been in for a long, long time, and
Mm.
we've just been constantly doing what we're doing so that we know we're qualifying. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the numbers are sort of insignificant, really.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know whether there was like a minimum
Unless I don't know if you remember what they are, Hugh. I think they're pretty much the same. I think New South Wales, Victoria,
Yep.
are all the same.
Yeah,
Mm,
'cause down here, I'm pretty sure that, the the minimum that you needed to get per year was 12 points.
12. Oh, 12 a year. Okay. Wow. That doesn't
Yeah.
even seem a lot in the sense of like, over the course of a year. And you're saying if you go to a lunch or something like that and you get
Mm.
6 points, there's half of the points for the year gone.
You
Yeah,
You
don't
and
have
that
to do a lot.
lunch.
yeah, no, that's where that sliding scale of the point system was actually sort of entailing,
Mm,
was making sure that, okay, well, an industry lunch, you might get a couple of points, or, if it was just a half-hour seminar or something like that, and you could do that online, and I know that there's some that do it online, especially through the HIA,
yeah.
then you can get CPD points for an online seminar, and you might get 1 point for that. Um,
Mm,
and it might, like, let's just say hypothetically, it is a waterproofing course
yeah.
or a waterproofing seminar on the updates on the code.
Mm,
They cover that off in half an hour to an hour, and you get 1 CPD point for that, and that goes onto the record
right.
to show
Okay.
that you've done that and you've achieved that.
Mhm,
So, yeah, there's that does go on, but yeah, in a lot of ways, like Paul was saying, it's not really policed,
mm,
and really it just comes down to whether the practitioners and whether it's their staff as well are doing that and getting some benefits from it, and the information's being shared around.
mm. And can I ask a question? Because it's just out of curiosity and interest as well. With the industry associations and things like that over on your side, do they help builders learn how to run their businesses? Obviously they've got the training and the competencies for how to build and how to, do your renovations and things like that. But is there any aspects of helping builders to build the back end of their businesses?
Yeah, they do run courses on bookkeeping and accounting and that sort of stuff as well. There's basic outlines and support and how to make connections to the right people in the right areas when you need help in certain areas. So they do provide all that sort of thing. Yeah,
Oh, there is, okay.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay. I don't know, just I was at a Master Builders, Women in Building event maybe a couple of weeks ago. I was just speaking to one of the senior managers there, and I was just saying, out of, you know, we're all builders are taught when they do their, diplomas and things like that, how to build, but there's not the systems and the support for actually running the business. So I just said would be really interesting to have further
Yeah.
conversations about that. You know what I mean? Just to help support that. Because that's where a lot of the learnings in business are as well. Like or in your building companies are as well, and how those if coming back to the processes and the systems that you have in place, making sure that that can lead, if you're able to learn those and get those in a good position, then that can lead to a better outcome for the clients, that things work more efficiently, your documentation's sent to council and compliant correctly. Then it's the making sure your numbers are done right, that a builder that understands their financial really clearly, that they're not going to be stressed when they're on site. They're not going to be just adding extra margins onto variations because they need to make up for maybe something they haven't estimated properly. And so it's kind of like all of those, that holistic approach to it all. So it was just interesting to think that if something like that could be put in place, how much that would help builders. So it was just that extra, for us, we've had to learn that. We've had to go and find those people to be able to help us to learn. And because, Andy's come through as a carpenter, he didn't work in any large scale building companies to understand business side of things. And then I've come from I suppose, a corporate background. I was in contracts administration, which I was lucky then I could help. Was able to apply more of the legal sort of aspects, the contract side of things, but had no clue about the financial side of things. So we've had to like continually learn, about different aspects of the business. Then we've had to learn now, and as your business grows in different ways, then you have to at the new level of learning. Then now it's like leadership because we've got a team behind us. Not the next step is oh, I don't even know what yet. There's always something AI. I think that's the next thing. It's continually learning into something else. But how do you guys find that, in terms of what you have had to learn to help with your businesses?
Well, it's more important than the building side of it, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, we do a trade, you learn how to work with your hands, and that sort of comes natural to you. So it's like the email stuff we've talked about, and learning to manage finances, because people, just because you can do the physical work doesn't mean you can run a business, because there's a whole lot more, the technician and the entrepreneur, and then there's the tradesman and everything, like in the E-Myth, that book by Michael Gerber, and a lot of builders go broke. I mean, and a lot of builders go broke regularly, and they're actually quite good builders, but they're obviously not very good at managing money, or they're no good at finance, or they're no good at dealing with people, or they're no good at dealing with something along the way. Obviously, there's tax to pay, and there's all these things that they obviously get wrong, because there's nothing
Mhm,
wrong with the products they're producing, but there's a
mhm,
lot wrong with the business that they're running, and
yeah,
that's what's really interesting. So I think it's probably, like you say, more important than the actual building side of it, to learn that stuff, because you're managing money and you're handling money that doesn't belong to you. You're handling other people's money. There's a lot of money coming in monthly, but there's a lot of money needs to go out. And I think that's where a lot
mm,
of guys might come unstuck, because they see all this money in the bank, but they don't stop and think, well, that's not mine. Most of that has to go out to other people. So you've got to get that right. I think that's the most important thing to get right, because financial stress is probably the worst stress of any stress. And
mm.
once you've got that and things are not going right, it's a pretty downward sort of a spiral from there. Once you sort of get caught in that whirlwind, it's a bit hard to get back out of. And I think that's where most of them come unstuck.
What's your thoughts on that, Hugh?
I guess you could say when it comes to the business aspect of the learnings, and when a lot of builders actually start up their businesses, most of the ones that come from a trade background, they don't have those business skills. They don't have the business acumen, and finding places that can actually teach them some of that back end stuff that really, without them going and working for another builder who's got the systems and the processes in place, and they are successful, and they are turning over the projects quickly, and doing all that sort of thing. The problem that we sort of see is that guys go into it blind,
Mm,
and they've got a steep learning curve ahead of them to be able to sort of become successful, and not be one of those statistics that does just disappear because they don't have the financial skills to be able to manage a business that has a significant amount of money coming in on one side, but then not being the carer of the finances to be able to go, okay, well, we know that we've got to pay this. We know that we've got to pay that. We're not tracking it the way that we need to through here to be able to make sure that when an owner's paid their payment claim, and we've got 30 people lined up to get paid, and then they end up in a situation where they're constantly chasing their tail
mm,
for payments for the next person, or trying to we know that the things that come out of it is people trying to basically go to another project and get paid from that one to pay for this other project over on the other side, which is a scary proposition. And when owners start seeing that sort of thing, clients start seeing that sort of thing happening, they're going to get concerned that because their project might stop all of a sudden, and
mm,
and things aren't progressing. Massive concern that can sort of happen there. But the lessons, that really should be taught from a real early stage in a building business, or even people thinking about doing anything in construction businesses, builders, and that sort of thing. Either the courses, or even stuff that really, I've been trying to advocate for this to be sort of, I guess, delivered through the apprenticeships, or some of those Cert 4 courses that might be out
yeah,
there, and in the diplomas,
mhm,
and that sort of thing, because really that's that's more important than the hands-on skills of being able to swing a hammer. if the lessons are there and they're readily available to actually run a successful business, and you put some of these systems and the processes in place, and you learn them when you're basically an apprentice or something like that, then the guys that come out at the end are always going to be more skilled, and they're
Mm,
going to be better operators. And that's ultimately what's going to deliver better experiences for everybody out there in the industry.
yeah, that's a great I really agree with that. I think that, the apprentice, schemes here are, quite outdated even for different things, like, they're coming out still, in WA, they're still learning, the double brick methods and things like that where, a lot there's not that movement forward into where things are turning, you know what I mean? Like, there's now the passive house, there's now the a lot more in the timber frame space, all of those. However, that's just the apprenticeship, but, definitely that business acumen needs to be taught. Definitely, building diploma is it should be an essential element of it, it should be a full half of the course instead of
Well,
the
yeah,
kind of running a building business.
if they wanna get into running their own business, it does. So I think
Yeah.
it's a separate thing. I mean, some guys will do their trade and they just wanna do their trade. Like you say, Andy's a carpenter, I'm a carpenter as well. And, if
Yeah.
you just wanna do carpentry, you probably don't need to worry too much about it. You only gotta put your invoices in and every month and, pay for your whatever you're supplying, which is usually not too much, particularly if you're just subcontracting, like what plumbers,
Yeah.
electricians, and stuff like that do. So probably not so important. But if you want to run a building business where you're handling hundreds of thousands of dollars of money that um, is coming from homeowners that are trusting you to make sure you do the right thing with it,
Mm.
it should be definitely some serious education around that sort of thing because as we said before, builders go broke left, right, and centre. It's very common. It's
Yeah.
becoming a big problem. And the homeowners warranty insurance in New South Wales, particularly, is getting ridiculous. The price of it now, it's about 1% the price of a project. And that's the reason why so many builders do the wrong thing, go broke, or they don't necessarily do the wrong thing either. Some of them,
Mm.
sometimes it can be unfortunate circumstances in certain areas, but then we're all paying for it with this insurance policies now, and so they're
Mhm.
running it, like 1%. So $1 million job costs you $10,000 to get a policy in New South Wales now. It's not quite that bad in ACT, it's about half that, but it's fairly substantial insurance fee that we have to take out on every project we do. And of course, that has to be added back on as well. So if we can fix a lot of those things up and eliminate a lot of those problems, it's going to save money as well.
Mm. Circling back to you were saying just if they understood the finance, but I think there's like, there's the other skills like communication, like leadership, that those are all other essential elements. No matter if you decided to go on and run a business or not, like that, those things would be key to running and working in with with teams successfully. There's so many parts of it that um there's the opportunities for growth. You know what I mean? It's just all of those things that, yeah, I think there should be definitely more conversations with the industry associations about how this can be implemented more.
Well, we could never learn too much, can we? There's always, it's always a good thing to be learning.
Yeah,
It's definitely,
absolutely. Yeah, I like the saying that you had at the start, Paul, is you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, because I think it's really good for, clients if they're on the lookout for builders, homeowners, if they're looking out for builders to help them with the works. I think it's really good to look at, or maybe even ask the questions. What are you doing? Are you doing any coaching? Are you doing any extra CPD skills? It's those things then that they can see that with those builders, they do want to do better. You know what I mean? They want to either better themselves, better their team, better their client's journey. So I think it's a good thing to look out for if you're doing your analysis on your due diligence on your builder. Okay, so before we finish off, what's one thing that you are hoping to learn maybe before the end of the year?
Oh, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that one, Louise. I think probably I'm actually working on writing a book, so I think I'd like to
Woo!
probably get a bit more content together. That's the thing I keep finding that is the
Excellent.
stumbling block is what to put in it. So I've been working on that a bit more. So I'm pretty keen to get my ass into gear and
Yeah.
try and get that done.
Awesome. What are you
I think.
thinking of what are you thinking of writing the book on? Like your experience as a builder
Well, it's
or?
more of a marketing thing for, it's a bit of just sort of my story in the building industry because I've been in it all my life. My father was
Yeah.
in it, so I just thought it's a good thing to do as a just to give out to prospective clients to read a little bit about me and my background. So
Amazing.
yeah, but it's very you can sit down and write for 5 minutes and you think, oh yeah, that's really good, and then you run out of things to say, but you've got only a couple of pages, so you've got to do a lot more work to get the content to make a half decent sort of. But it's an interesting journey, interesting little concept to be working on. So
Yeah, very good. No, there you go.
something very different too, because it's something I thought I would never do. So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's really great, amazing.
Mm.
So learning, there you go. There's what we were talking about before we started on the call today, the whisper flow. So maybe that might be useful for
Yeah,
you. So you can, when you're driving or anything, some ideas pop into your head, jump onto your whisper flow and record it, and then that might help with the next chapter of your book. You'll have a big
yeah,
you'll have a big book like this by the end of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, AI it is. It's great because you can do that, and then you can email it to yourself and print it out, and you can go through it with a highlighter, and you can,
Yeah,
enter it in, and that. So those products are very, very valuable, aren't they? Like the Claude notebook taker and things like that
yeah,
we've got. So yeah,
yeah. Awesome, very good.
exactly. Mm.
Awesome. And what about you, Hugh? What are you thinking of learning by before the end of the year?
Well, before the end of the year, I mean, just from a business perspective and something that can sort of give a little bit more assistance to clients is being able to sort of provide and have something in house for 3D renders and being able to sort of get some of that real visual impact stuff
Mm,
we're within the business and trying to learn some of that and how to make it all sort of flow into our systems with our draftspeople and that sort of thing as well. So it's that way inclined because we're getting a lot of people that are asking for more of a visual sort of impact with what they're designing and working with us to go through. So that's something new. I've looked into it and sort of managed around things like SketchUp and that sort of thing when it just got a set of plans and I'm like, oh well, we need a 3D render. How do I do this? And spend 24 hours straight just sort of mucking around with it until a little bit of artificial intelligence could just go bang, there it is. And I'm like,
yeah.
all right. So I've learned how to prompt this in the right way. So
Mhm.
yeah, there's still some learnings and I think that yeah, the implementation of artificial intelligence is going to come into it as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Excellent.
how do we use that to benefit clients?
Yeah, awesome. Very good. For me, it's definitely it's delving into more the artificial intelligence as well. I think that it's something we can't really put our heads in the sand about anymore. We have been using it to an extent over the last few years, with the chat GPT and we had some custom bots we built ourselves just to help with our team members and they could help, build out our social media and customer service and things like that. But now, you hear so many other ones like Claude and Manus and the Agentics and all of these things. So yeah, I'm learning at the minute how to use AI through like the co-work, the Claude co-work to build out our systems better because again it just creates more efficiencies for the team that we'll be free to do the better things, to do the more exciting things. And there's not many times that you've got free time to let's go out and just randomly visit the client or catch up with, get some more feedback. It's just to do those extra things that you can do to give your customers a better experience as well. So but obviously to make things easier for us and in on the back end of the business too. So yeah, that's my learning goals for the year. So if I can get onto that more. But yeah, we're all learning and it's all good. Green, what did you say again, Paul? Green and growing, ripe for rotting.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Well, we look forward. Hopefully, any of our listeners have got something out of that today, and we look forward to chatting on the next podcast. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.